It's 30 degrees today. It is hot, it is beautiful. And we're gonna do what we do best. Compare these two. Let's roll! Design is very subjective. I like something else, you like a different thing. In this case, I want to give you my opinion about these two. Which one do I like the most? I love the front end of the Lexus and specifically this green color. Absolutely love this thing. The sparkling, everything perfect. But I love the back end of that RDX over there. I love the single exhaust tip on each side. Love the shape, everything perfect. The Lexus, in my opinion, at the backside looks like an egg. Not the biggest fan, but the front end is absolutely beautiful. Let's talk about the wheels. We're running 20-inch wheels for the Lexus, Michelin tires, and shockingly, they're still on winter tires, even though it's like 30 degrees Celsius today. The same thing with the RDX over there. We have 20-inch wheels. Those are more like gunmetal style. And on this side, we got this silver sparkling thing for the Lexus. I kind of like these. These look nice. But so do those. I'm not a big fan of the silver in there, but this matches with the exterior color. Not a big fan of the Goodyear tires though. I like the Michelin on that side. In terms of the packages, here's what we have for the RDX. We got the dual style headlights in the front, the blacked out grille. We have fog lights at the bottom. Meanwhile, the Lexus on that side, you have fog lights, but you also have cornering lights. That means when you're turning left and right, it brightens the area where you're turning. So you can see the part over here at the bottom. The Lexus also has that beautiful blacked out splitter at the bottom. I love the design of the actual headlight, very sharp looking. But we have to be fair to the Acura because this thing has been in the market for a while and it's still very competitive and it still offers quite a lot of tech features. But the front end, in my opinion, doesn't look as good as the Lexus. Here we have the key fobs for each car. That's for the Lexus, that's for the Acura. This is like boxy, this is curvy. It represents each car very well because this is curvy, so is the Lexus. This is sort of like boxy, that represents the Acura, perfect. We got the remote start for the Acura on this side. The Lexus doesn't seem to have a remote start at all. It just has a hold button for the tailgate, so does the Acura. Nice key fobs. Let's move on to tech features. Tech features. RDX offers hands-free tailgate. I'm not a big fan of this technology, honestly. I rarely use it, almost never. I don't really care about it. It's not that useful. I know some people like it, but that's what you get with this thing. Next thing you get, of course, lots of space. You see, the RDX offers up to 58 cubic feet of space behind the second row because this thing is larger. You got a wider vehicle and most importantly, a longer wheelbase in comparison to the Lexus. And I love this thing. You get extra cargo space in here. So if you lift that, check this out. More space over here underneath, more space over there, more space over into that side, a little bit, not much. And then you have your jack, of course, the standard things, pretty useful. Now, how do you get access to the second row from here? Do you have to go in the second door to actually fold them? Not really. You got levers onto the side, you pull that. There is another one over here, you pull this as well, and it folds all the way through. Pretty easy, right? Now, let's talk about the Lexus. Well, that was fast. Yeah? Did you get that? Okay, let's talk about this thing. Hands-free tailgate. Let me see. Not bad. Perfect. Perfect height. One thing I noticed with the Lexus, there are two buttons over here. One is to lock the vehicle and one is to open the tailgate. You don't get that in the RDX, but you don't get a lot of space in here, and you definitely don't get a lot of space under this side if you open it. There's just like one over here and then some space at the back, but in comparison to the RDX, not a lot of space here, but it's nice that they do offer similar to the RDX. Maybe the engineers at Lexus were watching the RDX carefully because it's kind of like the same design. Now, how do you fold the seats in the second row? Well, there's no lever. So what do? You have one at the top over onto the side to fold them over here. And then you got one on this side. So you kind of have to like stretch yourself all the way through to get access. I like the RDXs right on the side over here. I don't have to hurt my back by trying to reach into the lever on top of it. Just here, it's just nicer. This is small. Let's get into the second row now, but let's start with the RDX. Onto the RDX. Okay, first of all, as I mentioned previous, the RDX is larger. Therefore, you have more space, even in the second row. Headroom is nice. You got beautiful leather interior because this is the A spec. You got that suede in the center, leather interior all over pretty much even this first row. Leg room is nice. I like this, it's comfortable. It feels a lot bigger on the inside than it looks on the outside. So smaller on the outside, bigger on the inside kind of thing. Tech features, we got two USB-C ports in the center. We have two buttons for the heated seats, one on the left side, one on the right side. Has a beautiful panoramic roof all the way across. Visibility is great, seats are comfortable. We have an armrest in the center with two cup holders. That's pretty nice. And of course, the child seats as well. I like this, feels very roomy on the inside. Now let's jump into the Lexus. Let's see if that's still like another Toyota that they don't like tall people. Okay, the first thing you need to notice is that this doesn't have standard buttons or levers for the door. It's actually like a push button over here to open it, but then if it breaks, you pull it twice and then it opens. Not the biggest fan. Also, the door handle, it's automatic on the outside. That thing might break with time. I'm shocked that Lexus in this case is offering this. Oh, these are nice and soft. The cushion is nice. The padding is thick in here. I like this. But here's what you don't get in this thing in the second row. There's no heated seats in here. Or maybe it's in the center. Maybe it's like another Mazda. Nope, there's just cup holders. But we do get USB ports over here, in this case, two USB-Cs, and then of course the standard plug in here if you need to charge or use for your tire inflator. It's not as roomy as the RDX. I feel more comfortable in the RDX in comparison to this. There's a panoramic roof, which is nice, but this is sort of like split in half, so it's not full panoramic roof, it's just a standard one. The interior is very vibrant. The colors are really making you feel in a different experience. There's more luxurious in here in comparison to the RDX, which is more sporty because that is technically the A spec. Legroom is nice, but overall it feels more roomy in the RDX in my opinion in comparison to the Lexus. But not bad. This is not like the Sequoia where my head was right here. So good job Lexus on this one. Now let's jump into the front and let's start first with the RDX. Into the RDX, let's talk about this. The first thing you notice in here, how sporty this thing is on the inside. It's like the steering wheel, for example. It's like flat button, then you have paddle shifts in the back. So does the Lexus, but this has a different design. It's a bit more sporty, and if you like that, this might be the best choice. In the center, we have tons of buttons. I love that. Nobody complained about buttons. I know for companies it's actually cheaper just to put a damn screen in the center and call it a day, but I like buttons. It's easy to find everything. You got the climate unit, you have heated seats, ventilated seats. Then you move into the center bottom part where you have the gear knob, and then right on top of it, you have the driving modes. Easy access, I like that. What I don't like about the Acura, and I've said this before, and if you work for Acura, please change this in the next gen. The screen. It would be nice to have this and a touch screen. The pad is nice for some people. I haven't gotten used to it. It's pretty hard. It's a very complex job, to be honest. You want to make it as smooth. Not the biggest fan. The center over here, we have the cluster, which is digital and analog. I actually like that. I don't mind it because it still has that sporty theme overall. Then you move on to the seats. The seats have that center suede, beautiful red interior. Love how these are designed. They're cushy, they're comfortable. Love everything about it. The steering wheel over here, the column, it's actually not power, so it's manually adjustable. But what I do like about this is the actual wireless charging pad. You see, you don't see it around here anywhere. There's just cup holders, you got some space, then you have the armrest here, you can see my bag. But if you come down here, this is where the wireless charging pad is. In some ways, this is great. Why? It doesn't obstruct the driver when it's charging. So if you get a notification, you're just focusing on the roads. But you also get extra space in here in case if you're not using the wireless charging pad. I love a lot of things about the Acura RDX, and you do get heads-up display, which it's a nice touch. Everything else, it's pretty standard. This thing has been like this for a while now. So maybe in the next couple of years, it might receive some new updates or maybe a new generation. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the Lexus. Let's jump into the Lexus because the 2023 has received some updates. Into the Lexus NX. The first thing you notice, the massive screen in the center, no buttons. I like this, it looks smart, it looks fancy, it looks luxurious, but functionality is not there because you have to look for everything. And in the RX, you don't even get the driving modes underneath here. It doesn't have a button. You have to go into the actual settings onto the screen. Like you have to look for your heated seats. Like these are nice. The little knobs here, they look nice. I love the color in the center where you change the temperature to hot and cold and it follows with that kind of color pattern. I like that. The center screen is semi-digital. That's still a nice design. We don't get a heads-up display with this. It's probably an accessory because the Lexus in comparison to the RDX, you just keep adding stuff. It doesn't actually have like packages. You just keep adding everything. We have the pedal shifters behind it. Then nice steering wheel, no flat button. The Lexus badge in the front, I like that. Everything else pretty standard. There's a few buttons underneath here for your camera, 360, you can look around. And of course, for the front windshields, for the volume, the temperature and so on. Wireless charging pad right in the center here, that's nice. You get a little bit more space behind your phone. 2 cup holders. There is an armrest that you can open both ways in case if the driver doesn't want to bother the passenger or the other way around. There's nothing over here. They should have made use of this thing here. There's so much block into this, like this doesn't make any sense. Maybe some extra storage because at the end of the day, it is a family SUV. They didn't think about it. What I don't like about this, it's this center semi shift knob, which my camera guy said, what the hell is this? It took him a while to figure that out. While I was on the road, he was still behind trying to get this thing going. It's a very unique shape. It looks smart, it looks fancy, but it's not very functional. I like a shift knob, nobody complains. Now, in the Acura, you have buttons. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but that's easy to do because you just press D for drive and P for park and you're done. This, it's like you have to go into the left, into the drive, you can go into a reverse, then you got to figure out for neutral, then you have the sport transmission. It's not really the best for the first time, but then with time you get used to it. Seats, they're nice, they're very bucket-like, they hug you. One thing I noticed with this, as a driver, I'm sitting high on this thing in comparison to the RDX, just too much. But with the package that we have for today's video, the RDX doesn't offer the rear view mirror camera. This does, and I use this quite a lot. And it does have a split panoramic roof. You can open it from the front, goes all the way to the back. You have access to everything right here. It feels smart, it feels luxurious. I like the design, not the biggest fan of the screen, but feels more modern. And in fairness, this has received update for 2023, the front end, the exterior overall, and then the interior as well. The RDX has yet to get that kind of update. So this is sort of like a bit ahead in comparison to the RDX. Now, the next question we want to answer is, how do they drive? Because this is the hybrid and it's something that you don't get with the RDX. So let's go for a drive. talk about the specs. The Acura offers only one engine option. It is a 2-liter, 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, and it makes 272 brake horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. It is equipped with a 10-speed automatic transmission. It is the super handling all-wheel drive system famous from Acura that delivers the power perfectly, shifts the power front to rear, side to side. It's quite nice, the 10-speed automatic transmission. On the other side, the Lexus that I'm currently driving offers a bunch of options. So you can get a 2.4-liter 4-cylinder engine or a 2.5. You can get a hybrid. You can get a plug-in hybrid as well, soon will be available. So the options are a bit more expanded when it comes to the Lexus in comparison to the RDX, which only offers one engine and there's not a hybrid. And also, you don't get a plug-in hybrid as well. But a few things to understand about these two vehicles. The Acura offers a front-wheel drive. The Lexus also offers a front-wheel drive option in the US. But the Acura RDX tows up to 1,500 pounds. Meanwhile, the Lexus can tow up to 2,000 pounds. It's about 500 pounds more. And the fuel efficiency, of course, in the hybrid Lexus is going to be slightly better. And of course, you get the plug-in hybrid, which gives you green plates and better fuel efficiency, can drive on full EV as long as it's charged. You have a button over here, it says EV mode. In this case, it's not available because it's not fully charged at this point. The Lexus that we have for today's video has the 2.4-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine hybrid. This makes 240 brake horsepower and 167 pound-feet of torque. You can even get a bigger one, which makes 275 brake horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. When I was building them online, the Lexus, it's more like a add-on page. So you keep adding different tech features, different accessories and so on. You still get some packages like the luxury package that's here, or it's called in the US the advanced one. It's pretty much the same, just different name. But the RDX, on the other hand, it's more a package base. So your options are limited, so you can't just pick different options. Now, the problem with the Lexus is that, yes, it does offer add-ons and options and so on, but the more you add, it can get pretty expensive. You know how you get it carried on by doing this multiple times. You just keep adding more features and you end up with a car that is fully loaded with things that you probably don't even need. Now, in terms of pricing, here's a few things you need to know. For US and Canada, the RDX is slightly expensive in the US. In Canada, the fully loaded one, it's about $60,000 for the NX. And same thing for the RDX. They're not too far off. But in the US, one thing I noticed is that Acura offers 2-year maintenance free. I couldn't find any information about Canada yet. If you know anything about it, please let me know in the comment section below. But I know in the US, Acura has started to offer 2 years free maintenance. In the Lexus, you have to purchase that separately. The warranty is about the same, 60,000 miles for US, 100,000 kilometers for Canada, so pretty equal on that. Now, reliability, of course, one is Honda, the other one is Toyota, so you expect them to be pretty reliable in general. The Acura RDX has been in the market quite a while now, so it has proved itself. The Lexus, on the other hand, does have a different interior, upgraded interior, slightly different design on the exterior. We have this massive screen now, so it's kind of a bit of an unfair, but this is what we have at the moment, so I'm sure you guys are cross-shopping these two at this point. In terms of the safety features for the road, you have your lane assist, gap assist, you have your blind spot assist with both vehicles. One thing I noticed with the Lexus in comparison to the RDX is that when you put it in reverse, the mirrors don't flip. Meanwhile, in the RDX, they flip to give you better visibility on each side. The driving assistant package works perfectly in both vehicles. It keeps you within the lane, making sure that you're not bouncing left and right, staying right in the center of the lane, and it does have lane departure assist as well for both vehicles. The comfort level, that's what we want to talk about. How do these two feel? Well, the Acura feels a bit more sporty. It handles pretty well on the road. It's not as relaxed as the Lexus. The Acura feels you're always going to push that thing, and it feels very, well, slightly stiff. I wouldn't say a lot stiffer than the Lexus, but slightly stiff. It's just the way that thing is designed. It's a bit more sporty than luxurious. The Lexus, on the other hand, it's a bit more settled, more comfortable. I don't like the fact that I'm sitting so high off the ground. If you're short, you're gonna love this because it gives you good visibility in the front. I'm not the biggest fan of this sitting position. I'm sitting way too high. I don't like this, and especially for my knees, I don't feel that comfortable in this car. I like the one in the RDX. I feel comfortable there, the way it drives, the way the seat is sat. Love that kind of design. I've said this before, I'm not the biggest fan of high seats. I like it lower to the ground. I feel more comfortable because I'm tall. If you're short, you're gonna love it. Maybe you're gonna hate it. Generally, you're gonna love it. If you're getting the hybrid Lexus NX, it doesn't have the 8-speed automatic transmission, it has the eCVT, which is actually not a lot of fun. It's a CVT. The 10-speed automatic transmission in the Acura is really nice, and it's pretty much the same 10-speed used in the Honda Accord Sport. Well, the older one, now it's a CVT. And that transmission, it's really, really good. Both have sport modes. You can put the transmission in sport mode as well, paddle shifters if you want to have some fun. It's a CVT, so how much fun can you have with this? Conclusion, which one do I like the most? Here is the thing, both vehicles are really good and very close. You couldn't say that one is a lot better than the other one, but you could say slightly better. Like, as I said, the RDX, I just love the way that thing drives. To me, I feel more connected to that car than I do with the Lexus. This is more settled, more relaxed. This is like a grandpa style, just chilling, you know, that kind of customer. But at the same time, if you're young and you don't really care about that sporty feeling that the Acura offers, this will do the job just fine. The driving position for the Lexus, for me, this would absolutely annoy me every day. I wouldn't like it as much, especially long trips. I'll have to go with the RDX. But having said that, these are not bad cars, and it all comes down to which one you like. It's one of those cases where it's not a dead answer that this is the best, take this, done. They're actually great vehicles. Both of them offer great reliability, but the Acura offers a bit more space on the inside, but then the Lexus offers a bit more technology. So they kind of like balance each other. It all comes down to what you like. I would take the RDX first because I love that 10-speed automatic transmission. I love that sporty feeling that it gives when you're driving, and the adaptive suspension system as well. I like that. I'd hate the screen in the center. That would really annoy me. But the thing is that you get used to it with time, and I also like the fact that I don't have to use the screen because it doesn't leave as much fingerprints in it. That's what I love about my M3. The center console has that control unit. I like that. It's easy to use. And probably with the Acura, I'd get used to it with time. But this screen in the center will be full of fingerprints. It'll be annoying as hell. So for me, I'd say the RDX would be my choice. But they're both equally great.